All right. Hey, welcome. My name's John O'Neill, and I'm a real estate investor, entrepreneur based here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'd like to welcome you to the four pillars of epic wealth creation: how to begin to build wealth into your life through taxes, banking, real estate, and business. We're going to go through some fantastic information, and I can't wait to show you what we have to do. So make sure you get a pen and paper out, take some notes, write some of these things down on two basic concepts that we're going to cover. We're going to cover how to keep more cash flow in your life and how to build cash flow through real estate and business. And so let's just jump right into it. I'm excited to make this happen. This is me. I'm John O'Neill. I'm based here in Salt Lake. Like I said, it's my wife, Christina. I've been investing now for only about 5 years in my own real estate. For all of my life, I've been investing in real estate, and so have you. It just might not be real estate you own. But I started to learn how to flip houses, gain rentals, do creative acquisitions, raise money for purchasing real estate through self-directed retirement accounts about 5 years ago. I've bought over 19 properties. I've flipped 12 of them. I've averaged a net profit of almost 40,000 each, which is about what I used to make swinging a hammer for a living as a contractor. I started in construction trades when I was 13. I built up my business, and that was fantastic for a while. And then the crash happened. And then we also experienced some major medical setbacks as a family, and we found ourselves broke, living out of my sister-in-law's basement when about 6 years ago now, with 8 suitcases to our name. And so I had to restart. I was roofing people's homes for $12 an hour. And when I began to learn about real estate was through the system I'm about to show you right now. I've been able to, like I said, acquire a lot. I now have a passive income of almost $30,000 a month. I'm 34 years old. Based here in Salt Lake, and the best thing about that is I've helped a lot of other people learn how to gain access to systems that produce revenue into their life. And so that's what I'm here to share with you, not just my journey, but how I've accomplished what I have through these concepts. Here's some of what I've been able to do with it. These are some of the houses I've been able to acquire. The very first deal I ever did was a short sale. I didn't even know what that meant, and it was negotiating with the bank to get the property short of what was owed on it. And I got it for 78 grand. I funded that house with a self-directed retirement account from a remodeling client of mine. I gave him a 12% return on his investment and secured that in first lien position on the house. And then I sold the house for about 140 and netted 37 grand. He made 5,600 tax-free, and I was off and running. That's how I also did my next roughly 4 deals, was through those types of capital, other people's money. And then I've learned some creative strategies that I want to share with you, like the one in the corner right there, which was one of the best that I've done, where I was actually able to net a check of over 82 grand on that house. That was a good one. It was a good day. It's twice what I used to make in a year. And that was through a for sale by owner that I got that home here in Utah in Sugar House. I negotiated seller financing on that. The one down there in the corner, this is the check I made on that one. I subdivided the land, sold the lot next door, and made about 92,000 in a day on that one. And the last one, in the bottom left, is a house I did in Tooele, where the lady was actually behind on her mortgage. I caught her up, and I stepped into her home subject to the existing loan that she had. And it's one of my favorite strategies. It's called subject to. Write that down. We'll talk about that a little bit, how you can step into an existing person's financing or mortgage and take over their payments and own the house and end up being able to leverage that home for rentals or a fix and flip. So right there, that's around $220,000 in net income I've made just this last year. And those are some of the properties I've been able to do. Like I said, though, I haven't been doing it forever. And if you want to learn to do real estate investment like that, you've got to invest first here. You've got to gain some knowledge. And so what you are about to learn is, first of all, how to keep more cash flow in your life through taxes and interest, how to recover it. And then secondly, how to build it by learning to find all the money you need to invest in real estate, regardless of where your credit is right now, and being able to use a fantastic velocity banking strategy that we teach that helps people to do it. So I hope you're ready. Hope you're buckled up. And if you are, do this for me wherever you're at. If you're ready, say ready. Okay, I'm just going to assume that you said that because we're going to dive right into it. Okay, cool. So the first pillar is taxes. The reason we talk about taxes first is it's the first and largest expense in your life. More than food and clothing and shelter and entertainment, the rest of your life you will pay in taxes. The saying goes, death and taxes. So let's talk about it for a second. It's a really important pillar of understanding how to build wealth. how do you keep more in your own life and stop paying so much in taxes? Well, the first and number one rule is to be a business owner, right? Don't just be an employee, because you don't have choices on how you take in your income. And people pay a lot more in taxes on income that they take in that is earned income than they take in on income that they take in through passive real estate strategies in business. So we're going to dive into that and talk about that. The second pillar we're going to talk about, a pillar of building wealth. And when I talk about wealth, by the way, I'm not just speaking about wealth of money. I'm not just talking about how much money you have in your bank account. I'm talking about wealth of time. I'm talking about wealth of lifestyle, wealth of relationship, wealth of network. I'm talking about how do you design your life so that you control it. Well, first, learn to recover cash through paying less in taxes by being a business owner and real estate investor, accessing over 400 tax deductions instead of 15. And secondly, learn how to stop paying so much interest on the loans in your life, on your student loan, your car loan, and your mortgage loan. Literally a strategy that will show you mathematically how to pay those loans off in 1/10 of the time by using money differently. So I'm going to dive into that. And then real estate. So you're all investing in real estate. I guarantee it. I promise it. No doubt about it. It might just not be real estate you own. I never owned or bought a house before I was 28 years old. My financial philosophy growing up was to work hard and save money. And that's all I knew. That's what I was taught. And that led me to being totally broke at the age of 28, never buying a home. I've now bought a lot more because I learned a new financial philosophy, and it was around real estate and business. It was how to learn to leverage something else besides my time, learn to leverage other people's money, other people's credit, other people's energy, and be able to put that together so that I could, now I have passive assets that put money into my life, whether I'm working for them or not. I get paid when I sleep, and I love teaching people how to do that. So that's why you're here, hopefully. Write this down as one of the first things to put down. If you want to increase your money, increase the value you bring for it. See, money is just a receipt for value that you bring. And so the value I used to bring was I swung a hammer. I could build you a house, and I had to trade my time to do that. And now I've increased my value, and I bring it to the marketplace and teach other people how. And even though I don't have a college degree, it totally works. So I've got a couple people joining. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm going to make sure that we keep this flowing really good, and let's jump into it. Welcome, 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 welcome. Taxes, banking, real estate, business. Okay, here's the problem. This is a problem, and if you don't plan, then this is where you end up. People don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. The average 65-year-old has less than $27,000 in their retirement account. People that build up nest eggs, they run out of eggs. But people that buy chickens will give them an egg every day. What do I mean by that? The 40-40-40 plan is broken. It's work from the age of 25 to 65, and you used to get a pension, but you don't anymore. You fight traffic, you have a boss, you don't have control of your life. If you're in that place, then we have a better plan for you. We lay it out through what we do and how we do it. Here is the basic understanding of how you can make income. Be an employee, you can trade your time for dollars. You can be a small business person, and you are somebody that gets leveraged to make that money. You can be a business owner and have a franchise system that makes you money, or you can be an investor, make your money work for you. As an employee, you only have about 15 deductions. As a self-employed individual, you understand that as a small business owner, the minute you remove yourself from the business, it's basically over. When I was a remodeling contractor, as soon as my son was in the hospital, I wasn't there with him. The money wasn't coming in like it was previous to that, right? We'll get more into detail on some of that here in a second. But what I want to show you is a business system that has put over $1.4 million into my life in the last 3.5 years, and how I've learned to use my own funds as well as other investors' funds to leverage more into real estate and be able to do that. So we're going to jump right into that, and it's going to be fantastic. So here's one of the first things you need to know. You're welcome to take screenshots of this stuff. An income statement and a balance sheet is at the basic understanding of cash flow. So cash flow is simple. You either have a poor way of handling cash flow, which is just you make it and you spend it. That is a poor cash flow. You get cash and it flows out. Simple as that. The next way is a middle class thinking around cash flow, which is to make money, then buy something on credit that's shiny or nice or something that you want. It creates an expense in your life, and then you pay for it. The last way of cash flow is a wealthy way to address cash flow, which is to make money, buy an asset which puts more money into your pocket, and then you get to then pay for your expenses. So literally, there's nothing wrong with having the nice car, the Porsche, whatever it is that you desire. It's to have the apartment building or the rentals first that pay for those things. The wealthy have been doing that for years, and they leave clues. If you want to get somewhere in life, simply find someone that is where you want to be and learn from them, right? Because the day you stop learning is the day that you die. So if the wealthy 1% in this country have mainly built their wealth through business and real estate, you should give it a shot. Simple as that, okay? You can do it other ways, but the best way is that big green chart right there. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna teach you how to take a problem and bring a solution to it, because that's the number one thing you need to do as an entrepreneur and a real estate investor, be a problem solver. So I'm gonna solve the problem of this be in your life. By the end of this webinar, it will look a lot more like this if you listen to some of the things that I teach, right? Very simply, how to keep more because of tax and interest strategies. So the first thing you need to know to keep more of the money you pay in taxes is, how are you making that money? If you're making it as an employee and that is your only designation, then you have no choice. You are in a 30% income bracket where they're taking the tax out of your check before it even gets to you. Have you ever noticed when you work that hour at the job and you risk that hour of time, your reward is a paycheck, but you don't even get the full paycheck. They take something out of it before you even get access to it. And then you pay for all of your stuff like I used to in after-tax dollars, right? I have a cell phone, I have children, I have cars, I have all those types of things. I pay for all of them through my business. That's what a business owner does. And if you want to be a business owner, all you've got to do to start a business is simply become startup mode, right? So you can say after me right now, if you want to start a business, literally say after me, I'm a business owner. That's all it takes. Start keeping track of the expenses of your business. So 54 cents a mile for every mile that you drive. If you have a cell phone, if you have a computer, if you have a small home office. I happen to have children. I pay my children through my business. You can pay your kids up to $6,300 a year with no W-2 or 1099 issued to them, and you can write that off as a business expense. I'm a family man. I live here in Salt Lake. I love my family. It's why I do what I do. But we don't take vacations in the O'Neill family. We take business trips, right? And they happen to be to great places like Cancun, Mexico, and Hawaii. And we have a lifestyle that's very different than others simply because I get to pay for all those things as a business expense rather than out of what's left over. And I pay income taxes on what's left over. Now, property taxes I pay a lot of, and I agree that you should pay property taxes. They go to fund schools and police and fire and bridges and infrastructure. But income taxes, they don't pay for a whole lot in our society. I don't think the government's doing a great job with them. So I choose to keep as much of that in my life as possible and give back. So you can pay taxes on 20% that's left over, or 6%. If you want to become a business owner, you're going to open up a 30% pay raise to yourself just simply by tax deductions right there. The second strategy we cover on keeping and recovering cash flow is velocity banking. This one will blow your mind. You've never seen this before, so pay attention. All right. The first thing I want to lay out is that the average household around the country makes about $5,000 a month. You might make more, you might make less, but we're just going to base what you do with that money, what is your cash flow, and how you treat that money to see how you can recover more cash flow and use that to pay down your debt quickly. Here's what I want you to write down around this concept. You ready for it? Write this down. This is super important. If there's only one concept you take from me, it's this one right here. The wealthy use credit as leverage. We learn to leverage credit rather than our own time to acquire more. So we use credit as leverage, and then we use cash as velocity to pay that credit down. So let me show you what I mean by that. So the first thing is, let's lay out the basic family. They make $5,000 and they put it in their checking and savings account. Why do we put it in a checking and savings account? Because that's what the bank told us to do. Who do you think that benefits the most? You or the bank? Probably the bank. That's where we learn about banking, is from them. And I guarantee you their buildings are bigger than yours. So they want you to put it in checking and savings, because when you put it into savings, they go get like $11 more from the Federal Reserve for every dollar you put in savings, and they loan it back to you at 6%, even though they're giving you 1% in your savings account, which doesn't even keep up with inflation. It's insane. So take the 5. Here's what you do with it. You put it in the checking account and you pay for the mortgage. You put it in the checking account and you pay for the cars. You put it in the checking account and you pay for your, your emergency credit card over here that you ran up on credit because you had an emergency, right? So then you've got another $600 that goes to, $1,200 that pays for gas, groceries, utilities, and all that stuff. And then whether or not you understand it, you are saving, and it might be in a savings account. It might be in a 401k, which averages a 3% rate of return if you don't even count the fees. 401ks are a joke. Or you might be saving it by giving it to the government, and they give it back to you in the form of a refund in February after you gave them an interest-free loan for a year. So one way or the other, you're putting that money aside. And so I'm going to show you the biggest problem with that is your cash flow is zero. Zero cash flow, that's the problem. And that is a financial model that is not worth investing in. Let's fix it. So the way to fix this model, this is a problem. Let's talk about fixing it in your life right now. The first thing that you need to understand about a line and a loan is that they're different. They're both bank products, but they're different in the way they are treated. So a loan is something that has a payment that goes into it, and it locks that payment up, and you cannot re-access that payment unless you sell that house or sell that car or refinance it. That's the only way you can access that payment. It is goes in and you can't get it back. A line, however, the minute you make a payment on a line of credit, whether it be a credit card, whether it be a home equity line of credit, business line of credit, you can access that payment immediately, and you can swipe that card or that line to buy the things that you need in your life. So it allows you access to it, which is incredibly important. The second biggest thing that is a difference is that with loans are amortized, and they have a schedule of payment. And that payment every month is the same. It says you're going to pay this much in interest and this much in principal reduction. And then next month, you're going to pay this much in interest and this much in principal reduction. And it goes down on a schedule. On a car loan schedule of 6 years, on a student loan schedule of 40 years, on a mortgage schedule of 30 years, that's the schedule, and it doesn't change, okay? Lines change every day when a payment is made because it's based on daily simple interest. The minute you make a payment on a line, it reduces your balance and you pay less in interest. Interest is the second biggest cost in your life, and here's why. I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to give you the option. If I were to loan you 10 grand, would you want to pay me 21%, or would you want to pay me 6%? It's up to you. I'll let you choose. Choose quickly. And as you do that, I want to ask you, which of these is hotter, 32 degrees or 1 degree? Well, which is hotter now? 1 degree Celsius is hotter than 32 degrees Fahrenheit, even though it's a smaller number. And this is the reason I make this analogy is I want you to know that banks are doing this to you in a loan structure. A loan is a very expensive way to borrow money compared to a line. And so this is why. They amortize a loan on a schedule. And because they amortize it, they can front load all of the interest to the front of it. That big red arc, that's front loaded interest. So literally when you get a car loan, student loan, or mortgage loan, and you begin paying on it, the majority of your first payments are interest. And if you play that out and you buy a $200,000 house, you make a payment every month for 360 months, you'll still pay double what you bought the house for. Okay, that's a problem. But even bigger than that is this problem right here. The average American either sells the home or refinances every 56 months. If you take this out 56 months, this is how much you're paying for $13,000 of principal reduction on your mortgage. You're paying $54,200 in interest. Does that look like 6% to anybody else? No, because it's not. It's literally like over 300% interest because people stay in this cycle of refinance every 56 months. And then people will pay for their colleges from their home. They'll pay for their cars from their home, and they'll refinance it into the loan, which is the highest interest you could ever pay is in a loan structure. Even if you didn't refinance, you would still pay $232,000 in interest for that loan. It's incredibly high. So there's a way to fix it, and let's show you how. The first thing that you need to do is treat your cash differently. Make a different choice with it. It's what wealthy people have learned to do, and what I'm going to encourage you to start doing as well. The first choice you're going to make is bypass the checking account, put all of your income onto your debt, And then stop putting your money in the savings account where it gives you less than a 1 point in interest. If it starts with a point as an interest rate, here's a maximum. If it starts with a point, it's pointless. All right? Just trust me on that. So we're going to recover $2,000 of cash flow into your life by 2 simple steps. You're going to bypass your checking account, put it all onto your debt, and then you're going to stop savings in that account. Now, I do want you to have money set aside for an emergency. Like, I've got my money set aside in my safe. It's next to my guns. If the zombie apocalypse happens, I'm down. I'm ready to go, right? But other than that, I don't save as a way for investment in a banking account because my money is not doing anything for me in there. If you're putting it in an account, in a savings account or a 401k, and it's not even keeping up with inflation, the cost that things will cost, then it's doing you no good. So I put it all on my very high interest debt. And here's how I do that. You're going to take all of your income. How much of it? All of it. This is the only way this strategy works, and put it straight to your credit card. And you're literally going to slam $5,000 down on your credit card. Now, in this scenario, you still have $3,000 of expenses. So $5,000 goes in. The $2,000 of discretionary income sits on the line and works for you every day to reduce how much interest you're paying, and that's month 1. All right, month 2, you do it again. You slam it with $5,000. You know, maybe you get paid twice a month or 4 times a month or 8 times a month like me, whatever. And it slam it. And then you pay your bills from the credit card. You can pay a mortgage from a credit card. You can connect it to PayPal. You can get a balance transfer check and write checks if you need to. But the majority of costs in your life, you can swipe a card for. Let's say in month 3, you actually have an emergency. An emergency is a tire blows on your vehicle, and you've got to get $1,000 worth of tires. Well, can you use your credit card to do that? Yes, you can access the principal you paid down because it's in a credit card. And you could not do that if you just slammed your mortgage with your savings. You couldn't access your mortgage to pay for those tires. That's why we use the line of credit. So 2 things you can use your line of credit for other than debt reduction are assets, to purchase assets, or emergencies. Those are the only 2 things in this scenario. Now, also, month 3, month 4, you're going to notice a couple other things happen. When you hit your credit lines with multiple payments a month, your credit score is going to go up. They like that. And the other thing is the bank is going to give you a credit limit increase. They've never given me a savings increase, but they've given me lots of credit limit increases as I've used it better, and they give me more. It's an interesting thing. So just using that basic scenario, you pay off $13,000 of credit card debt in 6.5 months, slamming all of your debt, using all of your income 24/7 on your line. Very simple. It's math, not magic, right? So now you're going to take a $13,000 payment from that credit card, and you're going to put it onto your mortgage. And here's what's going to happen. You put it down on your mortgage, and then it gets paid down over the next 6.5 months. Well, how much does that cost you? To reduce your mortgage by $13,000 in principal, it costs you $1,365 if you have a 21% mortgage, 21% line of credit. So let me make this clear. You're going to credit card your house. Yes, you are. Even at 21%. You take the math, $13,000 in principal payment. You times it by 0.21. That's the percentage rate. So can you get a credit card for less than 21%? Yes, of course you can. I like to underpromise and overdeliver. So even at 21%, you only pay $1,365 in interest to pay down $13,000 of principal on a line. On a loan, once again, it would take you 6 times as long, 8 times as long, 8 times as long, and it would cost you $54,000 in interest to pay down $13,000 in principal. So you get to choose. But every time you take a chunk from your line and chunk it towards your loan, you're going to cut off, in that scenario, you're going to cut off about 4 years off your mortgage. You're going to save yourself $54,000 in interest, and you're going to, you're going to accelerate how quickly you pay your debt down. You can literally pay off a 6-year car loan in 1 year. You can pay off a 30-year mortgage in 3 years simply by using your cash differently, converting it to a line and then applying that line to slam down the principal. It is a phenomenal strategy. Let's just play it out. Let's say that you do that 7 to 10 years later based on this, but it can be shorter than that. You pay off the mortgage. You totally pay off the house. Then you pay off the car, and then you have more cash flow. Well, with cash flow, wealthy people use cash as velocity. So you've got to get more debt. That's the problem. So here, let me establish something. There is good debt and there is bad debt. Bad debt costs you money. Good debt brings in cash flow. So I have about $1 million in debt right now in real estate that brings in cash flow that pays all my bills. I'm semi-retired at 34 because there's people out there paying down my mortgages and my rents, and those properties are not over leveraged. So that's a really good place to be. How did I get there? I learned some things. So here's one of the things I learned. When you pay down that home, you can leverage that home with a line of credit called a home equity line of credit. You can get an 80% home equity line of credit. Let's just call it, 160 grand. Buy 6 rentals with it. The average rental needs to produce at least $400 in cash flow for it to make sense for you. Add that to the bottom line of $3,800 in cash flow plus $2,400 in cash flow. Your lifestyle is still the same. Then you just apply that to a rental and you pay off one rental every 1.6 years with that cash flow. So just simply take your debt, divide it by your new cash flow, and that's how quickly you pay things off using this strategy. It's amazing, and it works. It's very, very cool. Then we just take that, and if you just play that out in the next 5, 6, 7 years, you have almost 10 grand a month coming in passively on paid for real estate. That's how wealthy build wealth, and that's how you can do it too. So that is a plan. It's a fantastic one. It's one I'm currently doing, and I understand for some of you guys it can feel like this right now, and that's okay. It's a bit of a fire hose. It's meant to be that way because I want to refer to where I learned all of this and how you can access this education, how you can get this type of knowledge to apply into your life. You're not going to get it from a 45-minute webinar with me, but you can access it through what our company provides, which is an epic solution to the problem of the 40-40-40. We have education. That education is online. It teaches you real estate and wealth management from people that have done it. So we have over 52 full-day classes in real estate investment that teach short-term and long-term strategies, including velocity banking, including some of the tax strategies I shared with you, and then how to acquire real estate. Properties and how to acquire them are very simple. You have to find, fund, hold, and sell. That's what you need to do. You can find a property with a realtor and fund it with a bank and hold it for 30 years and then sell it to your kids. You can find it through a for sale by owner. You can fund it with retirement account money. You can hold it for 60 days and flip it for profit. There's many ways that you can do real estate, and we teach them all, plus how to begin to build wealth consistently. We have a phenomenal income system that is a business and is available to you within this program, and then a community of people. So we're nationwide. I'm based here in Salt Lake, but we have communities all around the nation where people gather on a weekly and monthly basis and talk about and go through this education, and it's phenomenal. So this is our product. We have classes on real estate investment, and they cover all topics real estate related. Fix and flip, short sales, lease options, apartment buildings, tax liens, lots of different things. One class that I learned that taught me how to raise all the money I've ever needed was from a lawyer named Matt Sorensen that teaches for us, and he teaches self-directed retirement accounts. And I learned these 2 questions in Matt's class, which have helped me raise over $4 million in capital to buy homes for cash. Very simply put, it's these 2 questions. Did you know you can invest in real estate with your retirement account? Most people don't know they can do that. You can. There's a self-direction process to be able to grow your retirement account tax-free or tax-deferred. For those of you guys that have ever heard of the presidential nominee, Mitt Romney, back in the day, he had over $30 million in his retirement account, and he didn't get that by funding $6,500 a year. He got that because he self-directed his retirement account into business opportunities, into real estate, and allows it to grow tax-free, and your kids can inherit it. What I ask of people, and I'm not asking any of you, I'm not raising anyone's funds, I'm just an investor, I ask them for a loan from their retirement account. I secure that loan in first place position on the home, which is where banks secure their loans. And so that person has a very secure rate of return on a property, and they love it. They get to grow their retirement accounts tax-free. And I learned that in that class right there on self-directed retirement accounts. I learned about velocity banking in that class right there. It's about 6 hours long. It's phenomenal information online 24/7, lifetime education. It includes over 52 full-day classes taught by our investor instructors. They're practitioners at what they do. We have over 20 of them. and they're experts in their arena. So the individual that teaches our lease option courses have been doing lease options for 37 years. Our fix and flip instructors have flipped over 200 homes in the last 3 years. Our short sale instructor, he was just here in my market talking about one specific strategy called Subject To, which blew my mind, that you can step into somebody's mortgage subject to their credit, and they'll sign the title of the home over to you through a seller finance. Then you can sell the home, you can rent the home, you can refinance it into your name because you have ownership. You can get a HELOC on it and buy more. It's amazing what's possible to do. And you just don't know what you don't know until someone tells you or teaches you. And this is the best system I've ever seen for teaching what we do, because it's constantly updated. Our multifamily classes, it's kind of like apartment buildings, and it's taught by Johnny Dessauer. He has over 4,000 units, makes over $100,000 a month, and teaches you how to do it. Notes, deeds, and liens. Tax liens are a phenomenal way to pick up property. You can get a guaranteed 12% rate of return, but the #4 note buyer in the whole country teaches for us, and it's phenomenal. Commercial real estate and tons of bonus tracks for a total of 52 full-day classes in real estate that you get for a lifetime. We continue to add to it, update it, and continue to renew it. So it's now 52. It's phenomenal. With it, you also have some tools that you're going to need. Our software system is second to none in pulling data on properties in your neighborhood. I quickly pulled the pre-foreclosures in my neighborhood here in Salt Lake. There's over 16,600 people behind on their mortgage currently right now. There are plenty of deals out there if you know where to look and you know what knowledge to bring to those deals. So you've got to gain that knowledge. Someone's got to teach it to you. And you get to be mentored and facilitated through that knowledge. And the cool thing about us and what we do is that we're nationwide, over 20,000 students. We've been around 6.5 years. We're the best at what we teach. And we tell you what the investment is right up front, because you're an adult. I'm an adult. You'll know the full investment right now. It doesn't change. And you can determine that's what you pay for it. What it can cost you out of pocket is literally nothing. With the investment that I made over $1.4 million. Here's one of my students. His name is Nate. He lives here in Salt Lake as well. He was a psychology professor that has a PhD, and he only made $30,000 a year. Now he consistently makes $30,000 a month, and he's killing it. This is one of his deals. This is my friend Dane. Dane was 22 years old when I met him. He's now 24, and he was a roofer like me. This was his very first deal, and that's the kind of profit he made. We literally have hundreds of success stories, mine included, but lots of students all around the country doing deals and making things happen. Our full investment, what you pay for this education, lifetime, 52 classes, is $19,994. That's the price. What it costs you is literally nothing out of pocket if you apply it in the tax strategy and the interest saving strategy, and what you can do with it. It's phenomenal. It includes everything that we've got. Coaching, all of it. There's not more to buy. One-time price point, $19,994, is phenomenal, right? With it, you get a ton of support. Webinars, group coaching, one-on-one coaching, education weeks, new classes updated. We support you with fix and flip house tours in your local community, where we have community members doing this, applying this education and making it happen, monthly workshops, and tons of other things that you could not even access all the support that we have for you. Here's a couple of ways where it literally can cost you nothing out of your pocket. What you pay is this, what it can cost you is zero, right? That's the difference. This education hasn't cost me a dime. And one of the reasons why is a full tax write-off against my current income. I actually got a tax refund when I purchased this education because I was running a remodeling company. I started flipping houses. I made $37,000 on my first flip, paid back my education, and I got to write it off in taxes too. The second one is if you ever do a deal with us, which you will do, if you plug in and you learn what we know and you come and do it with us, we teach you these formulas, and you write into the formula at least a $20,000 profit. And that's your full, we're not talking about going to school at a college for the next 6 years and getting into $62,000 of debt. And on average, the college graduates come out making $38,000 a year. We're talking about investing in yourself in wealth knowledge taught by experts that will get you in a place where you're making checks like this very, very quickly. It's fantastic information. A 401k is a great way to fund your education. You can literally fund it from yourself by borrowing up to 50% of what you have in there, paying yourself back the 5% interest instead of the bank. If you got a car loan that you're paying interest on, if you got then borrow from your 401k. Take back your control of your life. Get your education. Start applying this. Pay yourself back 5% instead of the bank making so much money on you, right? Apply the education and keep it rolling. You can use that 401k for your first deal, to do the rehab or to do the fix and flip. Credit cards is actually how I was able to get the education with no money out of pocket. I had decent credit, above 680, and I applied for 3 cards. I bought the education. Just with the Velocity banking concept alone, you can literally pay that off in 10 months. If you get that at a 0% rate, which is what I did, 18 to 24 months, then bam, your education costs you nothing. You've got it for a lifetime and you're off and running. And if we can show you how to buy a home for 200 grand, trust me, we can show you how to get this education. This is one of my favorites. It's literally to take all of your debt, put it in a line, and then divide that by the new cash flow in your life and be able to pay it off super quickly. And here's how that would work. If you look at your different debts, if you look at your mortgage and your car and those things, then you have monthly costs on those things. If you take all of those expenses and you put it into one bucket, you can reduce your monthly cost by a significant amount, increase your cash flow, and then apply that to your new debt, including your education. You can pay it off in 3.5 years instead of 39. So those are just some strategies and ideas of how you can move forward, get this full investment, be able to achieve your dreams and what your goals are in real estate, recover cash flow through tax and interest strategies, build cash flow through real estate, and then we have a phenomenal business model. It is a system that personally has put over $825,000 now into my life. Yesterday I got paid over 13 grand. It's a massively effective business nationwide that will plug you into and teach you and show you what we do, right? It's phenomenal. You're in business for yourself but not by yourself. We have mastermind calls, presentations, and we'll plug you into what we do and how we do it. It's phenomenal. I use that word a lot. But here's what I want to end with, and I want to ask you this question. Would you please answer this for yourself? When I have more than enough time and money, I will what? What will you do? When I have more than enough time and money, I will what? I'm asking you that question, and I want you to answer for yourself, because I want to ask you, how long do you want that to be a question? I now find myself at the age of 34 in a place where I can travel, I can give back to the people that I choose to, and I can be with my family. I have 4 beautiful kids. This is why I do what I do. What I do is simple. I invest in real estate. I build massive and passive portfolios in real estate, and I teach people how. I run a business system that produces income weekly into my life, and why I do it's right here. How I do it is with this system, and I invite you to come and do it too, right? So the next step is to be able to get back with the person that connected you to this webinar so that you can get access to a more in-depth look at your numbers, how to specifically set up a plan so that you can, in the next 30, 60, and 90 days, put that plan in place and begin to invest in real estate, and then be able to give you a free Velocity banking calculator. So with that, you guys, I appreciate you being on this short webinar to get some information about what we do and how we do it. I invite you to follow up with the person that connected you to this webinar. I look forward to seeing you at our future events, whether it be online or the ones that we have live in person. And with that, have a fantastic night. This is John O'Neill signing out. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks so much.